Boxing King Media in association with Boxro out here at the Rotunda ABC. Caoimhin, Agyarko, just seen you finish training. I bet it feels good to be back and got a fight date as well.
Yeah, it's really good to be back. Obviously, by the time I fight, it'll be 10 months out of the ring. So yeah, I'm buzzing just to be back training. Obviously, I had surgery there in February and stuff, so just happy to be back in the gym.
I bet a lot of people don't realise, if you're like in a normal job where you're getting a salary and stuff, where if you get injured or you're off sick, you're still getting paid, but obviously boxing doesn't work like that. So how's the financial hit and not having a fight date to look forward to? How have you kind of dealt with all that?
Yeah, it's been a very it's been a tough time the last obviously 10 months. Thankfully, I've got good sponsors that pay me to train and pay me monthly, support me, even though I haven't been fighting. But obviously, my big paychecks come from the fight, so when you're not fighting, you're not really getting paid. And I've still got bills. I pay bills in Liverpool, back home in Belfast. I had to pay 10 grand for hand surgery and stuff like that. So it does be tough, but like I said, thankfully I've got good sponsors that help me out.
You're still relatively a young lad. Obviously, you're training away from home. You've had time in London, you've had time in Liverpool. How are you finding Liverpool just as a city compared to you were living in Bromley before, I think it was?
Yeah, listen, Liverpool's unbelievable. The people are so similar to people back home in Belfast, so I just feel at home. I'm loving the training, I love the people in Liverpool, I love being here. Just they've made me feel welcome. So yeah, it's good to be here. I don't feel like I'm in camp. It just feels like home. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's amazing. Obviously, London was quite different. It's a very busy city. People are always in a rush. It's very expensive and whatnot. So I think Liverpool suits me a lot more than London did.
Good stuff, man. And one of the things I want to speak to you about first is when you signed with Eddie Hearn all that time ago. I remember you saying one of the things he promised you was to get a big fight back on home territory, and that was kind of your dream. I know Dublin isn't 100% home, but it's as close as it can be to home. And just tell me, as an Irish fighter, how much it means to you fighting first of all on Katie Taylor's undercard on such a big historical event.
Yeah, it's amazing. Listen, I spent most of my amateur career living and training in Dublin in the national team and fighting in the national stadium and stuff like that. So Dublin's like my second home. I know it's not Belfast, but it's unbelievable to be fighting on Katie Taylor's undercard once again. I fought on her undercard here in Liverpool for the first time, my first fight with Matchroom. So to be fighting on her undercard on my fourth fight with Matchroom. On such an amazing card, like her going for a two-time undisputed champion of the world. So listen, Katie Taylor's one of my idols, somebody I've looked up to from the amateur days. What she's done in this sport, for not just for women's boxing but just for the whole sport in Ireland, is amazing. So to be fighting on her card, it's an honour, and I can't wait to just relish that moment and take it all in and on the night.
Just for the fans in like England, Scotland, Wales, just try and make them understand how much it means, to be Irish and to be fighting on a big event in Ireland. Because I know the country as a whole has been starved of big major sporting events, especially boxing. So this is pretty historical, isn't it?
Oh, this is a historical night. This can go down and it's probably one of, if not the greatest night in Irish sporting history if Katie Taylor becomes two-time undisputed champion. And yeah, listen, we've been starved of sporting events in Ireland, especially in boxing, and to have big time boxing back in Ireland is unbelievable. So it means a lot. Do you know what I mean? There's not a lot of opportunities in Ireland for people, and to be bringing big time boxing back to Ireland, it's good for the younger generation and kind of for us to set an example and show them that these things are achievable, and especially someone like Katie Taylor who's already paved the way for the rest of us. It's amazing.
Good stuff. And your opponent, Grant Dennis, you're not messing about. You're not having like a journeyman type fight. Looking at Grant's record, his losses have only come at top level, whether it's been points losses or he's been stopped late, etc. So it's at middleweight. Is you going to stick at middleweight, or are you going to go back down to super welter? What's the plan with this fight and picking Grant Dennis?
Yeah, listen, I said I didn't want a journeyman to come back. Fighting a journeyman does nothing for my career. At least with Grant Dennis, it's a test for me. I always want to test myself and push myself, and I think Grant's the perfect comeback fight. But yeah, no, I'll be going back down to light middle. I think this is just a fight at middleweight, just to listen up and out of the ring for 10 months. I got surgery 2 months ago. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I will be competing at light middleweight, clean up there, get world titles and move back up to middleweight. But this fight's just a one stop off at middleweight and then back down to light middle.
Any names you've been keeping an eye on? Anyone that you're thinking, you know what, maybe in a fight or two that's who I want to be competing with? Because I remember speaking to you ages ago, and the idea of you fighting Anthony Fowler, which I know it's unrealistic now because we don't know what Fowler's going to do. It just had bull written all over it. But aside from that, any other names that you?
No, listen, you got your Troy Williamsons, Josh Kelly, is it Abbas Baruth?
Yeah.
I've sparred before. They all make great fights. All I know is I want a European title fight before the end of the year or start of 2024 on home soil, and I want to be competing for the world titles in 2024. So whoever's there, whoever's in my way, I don't focus on it. That's what I've got a team for: Eddie Hearn, Paul Reddy, STN, and Joe McNally and Declan, my coaches. My job's to train, fight, win, exactly just like that. And whoever's put in front of me, I'm ready to beat up and move on. Do you know what I mean? I don't focus on the middleweight division, the light middleweight division. I genuinely don't watch it because the only person I'm competing with is myself. I'm trying to be a better fighter within myself each day, and I know that no matter who it is, I've got the ability and to beat them, and whenever they're in front of me, I'll do that. So listen, there's a lot of great fighters in the middleweight and light middleweight division, and I look forward to competing against whoever's next. But there's not one person that I look at and be like, yes, I want to fight them as next.
Good stuff. And just moving away, ask you about a couple of other things. You would have been glued in, like a lot of us, watching the Liam Smith-Chris Eubank Jr. press conference. What did you make of Chris, the way he came across? I don't know what you were expecting. What were you expecting, and how did you think he come across?
Very mentally damaging. I think he is. I think he's, as he feels from a bit. Listen, Liam's my teammate. I expected him actually to stop him late or points. I didn't expect him to stop him early. We all in the gym know how good Liam is. Liam's been a world champion. Everyone knows how good Liam Smith is. But I think this is the same result. I think that's mentally scarred Eubank, and you can see from the way he approached that press conference that he looks fragile. He looks, listen, you could own up. The referee did the right thing. He's saying the referee let the fight with Nick Blackwell go on and whatever else. You got dropped. It should have been stopped there and then. You got up, were on wobbly legs, got dropped again. It was stopped, and that's the way it should have been. So for him to question that and question the referee, it shows that he is fragile at the moment, and I believe that the exact same thing happens.
So you don't think it was him being witty, trying to get under Liam's skin? You just think it's a case of that?
No, I don't think. I genuinely think he is mentally fragile at the moment. I don't think it was a good move taking this rematch straight away. I think he should have probably went away, got a win, and then tried to fight Liam Smith, because he needs to rebuild his confidence. For a fighter never to be knocked out, to be stopped the way he was and dropped the way he was, it's going to hurt your pride, your ego, and I think that's going to haunt him for the rest of his days.
A lot of people in the public domain were suggesting, he needs to move away from Roy Jones Jr. and they've confirmed that he's going to stick with Roy. I think he flew out yesterday to train with Roy for this camp. Do you think Roy could, at his best, train Chris to overturn that result? If not, what do you think he should have done?
Two different styles. Roy trains fighters to fight the way he used to fight. Chris Eubank isn't that fighter, so I don't believe that there's anything Roy can do. I think, yes, it's good to have someone who's that knowledgeable and who's been there, done it and whatnot, but technically speaking, I don't think Roy's the man for him.
The other thing I want to speak to you about is another stablemate of yours. Josh Taylor's got a big fight coming up with Teofimo Lopez. I just want to speak to you about the comments Teofimo made recently. Did you see the comments?
I'm not sure now. What was that?
Let me find them and I'll quote them to you. So he did an interview with another channel, and basically just talking about favouritism on ESPN. And he was referring to Andrea Ward and Timothy Bradley. He basically said, all these motherfuckers ride and sucked dick. Sorry for my language, I don't ride off that. And he suggested if they want black fighters, they can keep them. And he basically suggested ESPN as a broadcaster and the people that work with them, like Andrew Ward Bradley, are favouring black fighters.
It's a bit of a mad statement. I don't believe so. I believe any time that I've tuned into an ESPN and listened to Tim Bradley or Andre Ward, I hear them giving the fighter that deserves props, their own props. So I don't know where he's pulling this from. Maybe there's a hidden agenda where they've probably made a negative comment about him and he's taken it personal. So maybe it's that, but it's irrelevant to the fight with Josh Taylor.
He put a picture up with Donald Trump the following day, and I think there was something on there captioned about playing the bad guy. Do you think it's maybe just a strategy on his behalf, or do you think he genuinely means that? Because sometimes it could be, because sometimes being the bad guy pays off.
Yeah, I think he's now gone down the route of being the bad guy, and I think after the Composis loss and certain other things that he made certain statements, and now he's gone down the route of the bad guy and the villain, so he has to just play that role, doesn't he?
Good stuff, Caoimhin. Anything else you want to add or talk about before I let you go?
No, tune in, May 20th, the champ is back, Black Thunder, and I'm going to put on a punch-perfect performance. I want the knockout back to, I've went the distance my last two fights, so I want to start that KO train again, and yeah, I'm buzzing to be back, so tune in May 20th.
Definitely. Caoimhin Agyarko, thank you for your time.
Thank you.